These are my 4 different fairy crowns. This one isn't actually quite complete. I ran out of glue and I need glue for some of these smaller pieces. This one is purely just copper wire. This one is the most like floofy, flowery, and then it has all of these little like stringy bits. They're actually like a paper string thing, and then I glued little flowers to it so that the flowers kind of cascade down my back. So this one is very large. This other one here is very simple, and then moss is wrapped around so it'll be soft on your head, and it's actually wrapped around with this green wire so it gives a small amount of shine. I have some beads wrapped into the wire, as you can see here, and then just the leafy viney bits for a simple earthy look. This one is wild and free, so that's partly why it's not yet complete. I need to figure out exactly what I'm doing, but a lot of mishmash wild looks to it. And those are all of my fairy crowns. I started by weaving, or just really twisting. You can see here it's just very twisted together. Some wire and this like vine leaf, it's fake leaf obviously, wire stuff together to make a circle that sits on top of my head, really. It'll change depending on your head, so it doesn't really matter to give you measurements, and I just kind of eyeballed it honestly. And then I also have some moss and a little bit of flower and greenery. So I'm working on attaching various flowers and leafy bits and moss on the edges with E6000, and in general like trying to weave it into the twisty parts. But some of the moss is having a hard time sticking, and E6000 will last a long time and hold really well, but does have a really long set time. I think on here it says 24 to 48 hours. Oh, somewhere. So maybe a combo of hot glue and E6000 will be for you, but I highly recommend using the E6000 just because it sticks super well, and especially to fabric. Not that much of this is fabric, but it sticks super well, so trust me that it'll be better than just hot glue. So I started by putting together the general shape of the fairy crown with wire and mostly eyeballing the length of the fake vines that I needed. I reinforced it with wire, and then I kind of played around with some of the extra greenery and beads that I had to add more shine and life to the overall fairy crown. I kind of regret adding some of the extra greenery just because I didn't super evenly distribute it around the crown, so it leaves a weird amount of section that's just very extra, and then like most of it's not. But I do enjoy adding the beads because it did help add extra shine to the overall crown. I also reinforced it with the thicker wire that I showed you earlier, and I finished off the overall fairy crown by adding in moss, as you can see I'm doing here, so that the crown had a lot softer of a touch, so it's nice on your head, and so that the overall fairy crown looked really finished and just green, whereas before it had more of a obviously fakeness to it, really. So I'm wrapping the wire around and it holds everything in place, so I didn't actually need any glue for this design. And for the yellow-orange flower fairy crown that I made as well, I did not use very much glue. I used a little bit to keep some of the smaller flowers from falling off, but overall I did the same type of style where I was wrapping a lot of that paper string that I used for the back around over and over again to hold everything in place. The making of your individual fairy crown depends on what you are looking for in your crown. So I suggest starting by gathering materials and seeing what calls out to you. I really like this final product of crown because it's just simple and naturey, and I love that, and it's very me. So I recommend whatever you kind of want to shine through for your crown to gather those materials and then really play with how you want it to look. Before I put things down, you can usually see me kind of placing it out and eyeballing it so that I understand the general look that I'm gonna end up with. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to see more, and remember to like this video if you enjoyed it. I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.